You ever catch yourself saying something and like a little voice pops up going, was that right? Like maybe it sounded okay, but you weren't totally sure if it meant what you were going for.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And judging from the conversation you sent over, sounds like you've hit a few of those tricky spots yourself.
It really does.
And you know what? That's what we're diving into today.
Perfect.
We've got a whole list, 20 English words that are famous for tripping people up. And honestly, even those of us who've been speaking English our whole lives, we're not immune.
Nope, not at all.
This deep dive is inspired by that conversation you had.
Yeah.
It was so insightful for like pinpointing these common vocabulary things that people get tripped up on.
Yeah.
So think of this as your personal guide to confidently navigating those moments where you're like, oh, did I just say that right? We're going to unpack 20 words.
Okay.
Explore those little subtle differences.
Yeah.
And give you the tools to use them with total confidence. We'll look at practical examples.
Yep.
Highlight the key distinctions that'll help these words really stick.
Sounds good.
Okay, the conversation you shared kicked off with a really fundamental one. The difference between boring and bored.
Oh, that's a great place to start.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it shows how just like a teensy little change in a word can totally change the meaning.
Yes.
So as we saw, boring describes something that causes that feeling of being uninterested.
Right.
You know, imagine a meeting
Yeah.
that goes on and on and on. And it's just pointless.
I've been in so many of those.
We all have, right? The meeting is boring.
It is.
It creates that feeling.
Exactly.
And bored, on the other hand, describes your feeling.
Yeah.
That internal state of, oh my gosh, I'm so not interested in this. Like, I'm just not engaged at all.
Chicken out.
So, as Lily clarified, for Alex, saying this movie is boring. Tells us about the quality of the movie.
Yes.
But saying, I'm bored because this movie is boring.
Okay.
Tells us about your reaction to it.
I see.
It's like a whole different thing. Here's where it gets really interesting, though.
What's that?
Alex wasn't just worried about a grammatical slip-up.
Oh.
He was actually concerned about accidentally describing himself as boring.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
But it also makes you realize it really underscores why understanding this distinction is so important.
Right.
Because you don't want to accidentally call yourself boring.
No, nobody wants to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So building on this idea of subtle differences leading to big changes.
Okay.
Let's tackle affect and effect.
Oh, those two.
I know.
A classic.
They're a constant source of confusion, aren't they?
They really are.
So Lily offered a really clear breakdown.
Okay.
She said, rain affects my mood.
Right.
So here, affects is the verb.
Yes.
It's showing that action of influencing.
I see.
Then she said, the effect of the rain is wet roads. Effect is the noun.
Yes.
It's the result.
The outcome.
The outcome.
Yeah.
Alex got it spot on when he said.
What was that?
So effect is the action. Effect is the result.
Exactly.
It's simple.
That is.
Action versus result.
I like that.
That's often the most reliable way to tell them apart.
Yeah, I think so too.
It can be helpful to think effect often acts upon something,
Okay.
while effect is what comes out of something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Effect can sometimes be a verb meaning to bring about.
Right.
But in most everyday situations, sticking with that verb and noun thing will help you out.
It will.
Okay, next up, we have a pair that sounds incredibly similar.
Oh boy.
But actually have almost opposite meanings.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Accept and accept.
So those are good ones.
I accept your apology. Means you're willingly taking it.
Right.
Agreeing to it.
Yeah.
But everyone came except Tom.
Oh.
Means Tom was left out.
Oh,
not included.
poor Tom.
It's kind of remarkable how two words that sound so similar can be almost the opposite.
It's true.
Really makes you think about how language even developed.
It does.
Okay. And then we move on to a trio.
Ooh, trio.
That I know trips up a lot of English learners and even some native speakers when they're writing fast.
For sure.
They're there and they're the absolute classics.
Yeah.
So there shows possession. Like their house is big. The house belongs to them.
Got it.
There indicates a place or existence. So the keys are over there.
Okay.
Or there is a solution.
I see.
And there is a contraction.
Right.
Shortened form of they are. So they're coming soon.
Got it.
It's great that Alex mentioned consciously checking these.
Yeah. It's a good habit.
Because they're so frequently used.
They are.
Getting them right really improves the clarity of your communication.
Definitely.
Written and spoken. So if we connect this back to like the bigger picture, it's about making sure what you're saying is as clear as possible.
Yes.
No room for ambiguity.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about a word that has a very interesting relationship with its true meaning.
Literally.
Literally.
A word that's often used not in its literal sense. Like Lily brought up that very common exaggeration.
Right.
When people say, I literally died laughing.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, no one actually died.
No.
The correct usage is when something actually happened. In a very precise way.
Got it.
I literally ran 10 miles. Only if you actually ran the 10 miles.
Makes sense.
So it raises this fascinating point about how language evolves.
He does.
And how words take on these new shades of meaning through common usage.
Exactly.
However, in its original strict definition, literally should be reserved for things that are factually true.
Right.
And its frequent use as this form of emphasis
can be confusing.
Yeah.
Especially for those still learning the nuances
That's true.
of the language.
Yeah.
So let's address a term that pops up sometimes.
Right.
But isn't actually a recognized word.
Oh, really?
Irregardless.
Irregardless.
I've heard people say that.
Me too.
Alex in the conversation brought it up.
He did.
He'd encountered it before.
Yeah.
And the straightforward answer is?
What's that?
Irregardless is not a standard English word.
It's not.
The correct term is regardless. Which means anyway, or despite everything.
I got it.
So it's almost like a double negative.
Oh.
That doesn't quite work.
I see.
The less in regardless already means without. So the R prefix adds another negative on top of it.
Right.
Which makes it redundant.
Got it.
So sticking with words that have similar sounds. But different meanings.
Yep.
Let's look at weather and weather.
Weather and weather.
So weather deals with possibility or a choice between alternatives.
I wonder whether it will rain.
Right.
Expressing doubt.
Yeah.
Question about a future event. On the other hand, weather refers to the atmospheric conditions at a particular time and place.
Right.
So the weather is nice today.
I see.
Describing if it's sunny, cloudy, hot, cold, and so on.
Yeah.
So one is about a conditional situation. The other is about what's happening in the atmosphere.
Got it.
Think of weather as relating to a decision or uncertainty.
Right.
Weather is what's happening up in the sky.
I like that.
Moving on. Let's explore two words.
All right.
That are kind of related to positive feedback and compatibility.
Cool.
Compliment and compliment.
Oh, compliment and compliment.
A compliment is an expression of praise or admiration. She gave me a nice compliment on my new haircut. A compliment is something that enhances or goes well with something else. Often completing it in some way.
So, the red wine perfectly complements the steak.
Oh, I get it.
A compliment completes or adds to something.
Okay.
Makes it better as a whole.
Yeah.
A compliment is specifically an expression of positive regard.
Nice distinction.
Now, let's consider a pair that often gets mixed up.
All right.
Especially in writing.
Okay.
Stationary and stationary.
Those are tricky.
Stationary with an A means not moving.
Right.
Still, like the bicycle was stationary, leaning against the wall.
I see.
Stationary with an E refers to writing materials.
Okay.
Paper, pens, envelopes.
Yeah.
I need to order more stationery for the office.
Got it.
Little trick to remember that one.
What's that?
Stationary has an E for envelope or E for writing essentials.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our next pair deals with authority and fundamental principles. Principle and principle.
Principle and principle.
The principal of a school is the person in charge.
Right.
Like the head honcho. The school principal announced a new dress code.
Okay.
A principle is a basic belief.
Right.
Rule.
Right.
Or a guiding truth.
I see.
One of my core principles is always to be honest.
Got it.
So one is a person in a position of authority, and the other is a foundational idea.
That makes sense.
You could even remember it as.
What's that?
A principal is your pal in charge.
Oh, I like that.
And finally,
all right,
we have a sweet one.
I like sweet ones.
Desert and dessert.
Desert and dessert, yes.
Desert with one S is a dry, often sandy region with little vegetation.
Yep.
Like the Sahara is a vast and unforgiving desert.
Okay.
Dessert with two S's is that sweet course you enjoy
Yes.
at the end of a meal. So for dessert, we had delicious chocolate cake.
Yeah.
And as Alex cleverly pointed out, dessert has two S's.
Why is that?
Because you usually want more.
Makes sense to me.
Now, while the conversation highlighted these specific pairs, there are definitely other common areas where English learners and even native speakers can trip up.
Absolutely.
For example,
like what?
How about illusion and illusion?
Illusion and illusion.
An illusion is an indirect reference to something else.
Okay.
So he made an allusion to Shakespeare in his speech.
I see.
An illusion is a false perception.
Right.
A deceptive appearance. The magician created a stunning illusion.
Got it.
So the key difference there is reference versus false appearance.
That makes sense.
And then there's emigrate and immigrant.
So, yeah.
Those get mixed up a lot when people talk about moving countries.
All the time.
You emigrate from your home country.
Right.
You're leaving.
You're exiting.
You're exiting.
Yeah.
And you immigrate to a new country.
Right.
You're arriving.
You're coming in.
You're coming in.
Uh-huh.
So the focus is on the starting point.
I see.
And the destination. Then there's that subtle difference between historic and historical.
Oh, yeah.
A historic event is considered important or significant, something that will be remembered.
Okay.
So the moon landing was a historic moment.
Yes.
A historical event just relates to the past. So the museum displays historical artifacts.
I get it.
Not all historical events are necessarily historic.
Right. So we're just kind of blah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And who hasn't mixed up advice and advice?
Oh, yeah.
I know I have.
Me too.
Advice with an S is the verb to give a recommendation.
Right.
The doctor advised him to rest.
Okay.
Advice with a C is the noun.
Yeah.
The recommendation.
Yeah.
He gave me some very helpful advice.
Makes sense.
So advise is the action.
Okay.
Advice is the thing.
Got it.
And finally, that classic confusion.
Well, what's that?
Borrow and lend.
Borrow and lend.
You borrow something from someone, you're receiving it temporarily. So, could I borrow your pen?
Got it.
And you lend something to someone.
No.
You're giving it temporarily.
I
can lend you my pen.
I see.
So think borrow as taking, lend as giving.
That's helpful.
These are all great examples of those tricky little words.
They are.
That can make a big difference in how clearly you communicate.
It's true.
Now, just like Lily did.
Okay.
Let's put your understanding to the test.
Yes, let's do a little quiz.
A little pop quiz.
Pop quiz.
So fill in the blanks.
All right.
The teacher gave us a lot of blank advice or advice. And I need to blank a notebook.
Okay.
Borrow or lend.
Let me think.
What do you think?
I think the first one is advice.
You got it. And the second one is borrow.
Yeah.
Because you are the one taking the notebook from someone else.
That's it.
And as Lily pointed out, actively testing yourself like this is a vital part.
It is.
Of making sure you've really got it.
Definitely.
It's not enough to just hear about the differences.
Yep.
You have to engage with them. You have to work it out.
Absolutely.
So it helps to solidify what you've learned.
Right.
Pinpoint any areas where you're like, maybe I don't have that one down quite yet.
Exactly.
So as we start wrapping up this deep dive, it's worth emphasizing again
that
how valuable it is to understand these little distinctions.
Oh, for sure.
They might seem small, but they make a big difference.
They really do.
As Alex noted, getting those tricky pairs like affect and effect, or the there and there, right, can really boost your confidence.
I can.
When you're communicating in English.
Absolutely.
And it can help prevent misunderstandings.
Oh, for sure.
And remember what Lily said, even native English speakers make these errors.
We all do.
We all do.
Yep.
Language is constantly evolving.
It is.
These nuances can be tricky.
They can.
So consistent practice and a willingness to keep learning are key.
That's the key to everything, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
So as you go about your day,
pay
attention to how these words are used.
Right.
And think about how precise language can really enhance the clarity and impact of your communication.
It's true.
This deep dive based on that conversation you shared is really just the beginning of a much richer, more nuanced understanding of the English language.
It is.
Keep exploring.
Yes.
Keep asking questions.
And keep having fun with it.
Absolutely.
That's the most important part.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
See you next time.
Sounds good.